Hello. Welcome back to Life After Plus One. I'm Leanne, your podcast host and your single parent mentor and coach. And today I want to talk about something that pretty much everybody that I work with has dealt with. And even myself, I've been through this. And the thing is, when you go through it, you just think, what is happening? Why am I? It is just mind-boggling when you're in it. But quite often when you're in it for the first time, you just think that it's your ex and it's just you. It's a situation that is unique to you. And the more you're in it, the longer you're going through this, the more you realize how common this is. And it's a shitty thing to be put in the middle of. And that is being villainized by your ex. It's all your fault. I want to talk about that today, because it is a massive headfuck. And if you are not in the right headspace, it can massively send you in a downward spiral very, very quickly. And once you're in it, it is very hard to get out of it. So let's unpack that a little bit here. And for those of you that are new, episode 150, how exciting. And I am here to offer your support and help in all areas of your single parent life. Whether you're just going through your breakup, whether you're still married and you're thinking about it, you don't know if it's the right decision, you're tossing up, you're trying to weigh up your pros and your cons, whether you're repartnered, you're looking at blending families, you're looking at stepping back into the dating world for the first time, no matter where you are in your single parent journey, that is what this place is for. Life After Plus One, I'm here for that, to help you in any part of this process. It is a lengthy journey, but it can also be a great one, depending on how you choose to look at it. And that is the point of me, because I want you to find the good in where you're at whilst you're at this part of your life. It can be a very shitty place to be. It can be a deep, dark hole that is very hard to get out of. But it can also be a very beautiful, empowering place to be if you focus on that side of it, if you learn to look at it from a glass half full perspective. So with anything in life, it is what you make of it. But when you're going through that breakup, when you've gone through that shitty place of moving house and splitting finances and custody and everything else, it is very hard to find the good in your situation, because you feel like everything's just gone to the shit. You feel like, what good is left in my life? How can I be happy and positive when there is nothing good left? I say this in the kindest way possible. There is good there. But the thing is, there has been so much shittiness that has happened in your life that it is overshadowing everything else. And that is where I come in. I help take those blinkers off so you can look at everything else from a very different perspective. I'm not here to be your therapist and say, okay, you need to do this, you need to do this. Oh no, that's not good. I'm here to take the blinkers off so we can look at everything else that's happening in your life, because that's quite often what I see in my coaching sessions. And people will come to me as like, holy shit, I had no idea this was even happening. Or I had no idea it was as bad as this, because that's what I'm doing. I'm here to make you aware of the blind spots. I'm not here to tell you you're doing a shit job. I'm not here to tell you you failed as a husband or you failed as a wife. No. Because we all make fuck ups in life. That is what we do. That is what happens. We are human. Nobody in life does not make mistakes. We all make mistakes. This is part of life. The idea of it, though, is to actually learn from that mistake. Learn from what you've just gone through so you can not fall back into that same cycle again. So you know how to handle it better next time. So you can bring yourself out and live the best part of your life right now, and you can enjoy it to the fullest. So when you do get a partner, you're living your life. They can blend in nicely to what you've built. You're not putting your life on hold, waiting for someone to come before you start living your life. And I see this a lot. I see people waiting for certain things. I'll wait until this happens. I'll wait until I get a partner. I'll wait until the divorce is finalized. I'll wait until custody's done. I'll wait until this is done. I'll wait until I get a job. I'll wait until I get enough money. And then what happens? Then something else comes along. Okay, well, I've got to do this now. So then I won't do this until I'm able to get this ticked off. It's like you're constantly putting your life on hold. It's a constant waiting game. Your life is meant to be lived now. You don't stop your life just because you're single. And I see this a lot, and I sometimes just want to shake people. It's like, you know what? Make the most of this time. Use this time to your advantage. This is the time where you have full power over your life in all aspects. Everything you do is in your hands. That's a great feeling. It really is. And sometimes, well, I won't say sometimes, quite often when you first become a single parent, that is the hardest thing to actually get your head across, because in some ways you feel like you've lost all control of your life. You feel like, I don't have anything anymore. I don't have control over anything. But you do. And that's the thing. Because you've been through so much shittiness, you're not seeing it from the other side. You're not seeing it from the other perspective, which is what I help you with, so you can actually really start enjoying your life. My job as a single parent coach is not just to help you through your breakup. That is one part, yes, but there is so much more to it than that. It's to help you build your confidence so you can go back into the dating world feeling confident and secure in yourself. It's so you can co-parent without having to walk on eggshells all the time, which is a very common thing. So you're not feeling anxious every time they message you or call you. You're not feeling stressed out and panicked. You're not feeling like you have to bend over backwards to constantly please your co-parent. You're not feeling like you're trapped in your world and you've got nowhere, you've got nothing. You're just a mum or you're just a dad and there's nothing else to your life. I'm here to tell you there is. And a little minor example of this situation, for those of you who follow me on Instagram probably already know this. I had my birthday last week and I took my daughter away. We went on a little road trip just for 2 nights. So it was 3 days. Beautiful little trip. I planned at 10 o'clock the night before because I wasn't sure if I was going to do it or not. Last year, I did something similar. I went to a little country road trip, loved it, so much fun. So I'm like, I'm doing it again this year, but I was just very last minute. But what I'm getting at here is I put it up in my stories on Instagram and the amount of people that said, no, I don't celebrate my birthday. What's the point? What's the point? The point is because you are worth celebrating. That's the point. You don't need to not celebrate you because you don't have a partner. This is your time to do what you want. Do it with your kids. Do it with your friends. Do it on your own. You don't have to wait for a partner to live your life. And these are some other things that I can help you with because a lot of people don't have the confidence to do these things on their own. They're not sure. And I understand money is a big factor in these things. I'm not telling you to go on some glamorous 5-star vacation. But there are things you can do for yourself in this meantime or in the process before you meet someone. Because that's when, if you're just putting your life on hold until you meet someone new, that's when you end up settling and falling into the trap of doing something and doing things just to make them happy. Because you want to keep them around because you don't want to go back to being on your own again. Be comfortable with being single. Anyway, I've gone off on a massive, massive tangent. This show, is meant to be about being villainized. And I've just gone off onto everything else. So that in a nutshell, well, it's not really a nutshell, but that is what I do here at Life After Plus One. I'm here to help you, empower you, and help you love this part of your life so you can get back on your feet and you can actually love where you're at. And it's not just with your breakup, it's with dating, it's with building a new life, finding your passions, finding what lights you up, building your confidence, working on your communication, setting your boundaries, spotting red flags, anything at all that is holding you back. Your triggers, that's the most important one. Any triggers that keep coming up for you, let's look at it. Let's work through it so they don't keep coming up over and over again. So enough of that. Let's jump into today's episode. Let's talk about being villainized. Welcome to the Life After Plus One podcast, where we turn life's lemons into delightful lemonade. Get ready for inspiring stories, uplifting conversations, and all the tips and tricks to rock your single parent journey with style. I'm your host, Leanne, and it's time to embrace the adventure of life after +1. So let's dive in. Okay, so let's talk villainizing. And as I touched on in the intro, it is a very, very shit thing to go through. But it is also a very, very common thing to happen in the world of single parenting. And quite often when it does happen, you're usually dealing with a high conflict ex. I'm not going to throw out the N word, which is narcissist, but quite often when you are going through that process of being villainized and blamed for everything, more often than not, you are dealing with a narcissist. But I'm not going to label everyone as that because there's usually a lot more, I won't say usually, there is a lot more to it. And the thing is, when you've been dealing with a partner, when you were in that relationship with your ex, whether you're married or de facto, whatever your relationship status was, when you were in that relationship with them, quite often they would have been very controlling. And that's why all of a sudden they flipped the script. And in that relationship, there's a good chance that everything would have always gone their way. You would have done things to please them. You would have done things to try to keep them happy. And more often than not, you don't realize until you get out of that relationship how much of it you put up with, what you actually went through. And what I see happen a lot is people making excuses for their ex and trying to defend them. And I understand why you do that, because that's your kids' other parent. That's a very normal thing to do. I did that. You don't want people to see your kids' other parent as a bad person. I can't even tell you how many times I went back to my daughter's father after we broke up and get back together. Broke up, get back together. Because one, he'd come back to me and try and make me feel guilty. And two, I felt bad. I didn't want people to know the real side of him, what he was actually doing. So I'm like, okay, let's try and make it work. And then something happened. And that cycle just kept continuing until I got to a point of, you know what? Enough is enough. And there was something pretty serious that happened for me to say, I'm out, I'm done. And I don't think I've ever mentioned it on this podcast. I'm not sure. But it was a pretty big thing to go through for me to actually say, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. And that's the thing though. When you're dealing with someone like that, quite often you go through situations where they've done something wrong. Your ex, your partner at that time was the one doing something wrong to you. They were the ones that were being controlling or nasty or manipulative. And yet they've come out of the other side, or you've come out of the other side of this breakup. And now you're getting all the blame. It's like, what the hell has just happened? Here you are trying to process a breakup, trying to understand what's happening, trying to adjust to life on your own, accept the terms of single parent life and everything else that's come with it, and all the other legal side and custody and everything else. It is fucking massive. And then on top of that, to be blamed for everything. So not only are you already in a head fuck because of what's just happened, but then boom, they've just gone and chucked this on you. It's like, let's just put that knife in a little bit more, shall we? And it really, really stinks. And the thing is, when you've come through a breakup with someone like this, your confidence is usually at a very low place. Your self-worth is very, very low. So when they start putting this shit into your head and blaming you and making you think it's all your fault, that's when your confidence and your self-worth gets even lower. You start thinking to yourself, well, maybe they're right. Maybe it was all my fault. Maybe I did do wrong. But instead of actually stopping yourself in that moment and saying, fuck that, they did this. This is their fault. But because your confidence is so low, you've turned into a shell of a person because they've sucked the life out of you. You've got no confidence left in yourself, no belief left in yourself. So anything they're saying, you're like, it must be true. You're believing their negativity and their hate and their hurtful comments over your own inner voice, over your own truth. And it's very easy to do when you're there because they've made you feel like you're not good enough. They've made you feel like you're the failure. They've made you feel like you've done something wrong. So then you take that on board. And the thing is, this is a very, very hard place to get out of. And it's very easy to sit here and say, just ignore them. Don't feed into it. You know it's not true. All those things. It's very easy to say that, isn't it? But then as soon as they make another comment, It's triggered you. You're like, okay, well, fuck, they're saying it again, so it must be true. But Leanne's saying to ignore it. Leanne's saying don't believe it. Leanne's saying don't give it energy. But then they keep saying it, so of course I'm going to believe them. And this is the thing. We are wired as humans to believe the negative over the positive. So you're living in survival mode. And that's the thing that so many people don't realize. You're so ingrained to believe the negative. So when your ex is telling you something, even when you know it's not true, you still believe it. And it takes a lot of rewiring and a lot of reframing to get you to that place where you can actually step back and believe in yourself. Be confident enough in yourself to say, holy hell, what the fuck is this person talking about? That's not true. And eventually, when you do start to believe in yourself more, when you do feel more confident in yourself, you can step back and it just becomes laughable, some of the things they say. It does. You can just read some comments and read some messages that they say, and it's so stupid and out of this world that it is just laughable. But when you're going through it, when you're feeling shit in yourself, when your confidence is at a low, when your self-worth is at a low, when you're just still, your emotions are everywhere, they're all over the place because you're still going through the breakup, you're going to lean more towards believing that because you've got nothing else there that validates you. Because when someone else is telling you something, even when you know it's not true, you're going to believe it. Now, what a lot of people tend to overlook when they're going through this is why it's happening and why they're doing this to you. And this is something that is also very hard to process when you're in the moment. Why are they doing this? Why am I the villain here? Why am I getting blamed? You're getting blamed because they don't want to take accountability. And I can pretty much guarantee you that anyone that is either currently going through the situation where they're being villainized or have been in that situation where they've been villainized is from a relationship where their ex never took accountability. They never took accountability, and good chance they probably never said sorry. And if they did, it was very surface-based. It was just, I'm sorry to shut it down. And then the pattern just kept going. Nothing changed. It was just words. There was no action to show you. There was nothing different. There was no change in behavior. It was just empty words. And that's just it. If they never took accountability when you were together in the relationship, then I can guarantee you there is absolutely no way they are going to take accountability when you've broken up. And this is a result of that, unfortunately, and it is done at your expense. They don't want to take accountability. They don't want to admit they were wrong. They've never done it the whole time you were together in the relationship, in your marriage. They've never done it. They are not going to suddenly do it now. And it is hard to process. And I know a lot of people just think to themselves, but why? I'm their kid's mom. I'm the kid's dad. Why do they have to handle it like this? Why do they have to keep blaming me? Why do I have to be the bad person? But the thing is, you are never going to get an explanation. They're never going to say to you, oh, I said that about you because, or I did that because. That's not going to happen. And again, I'm pretty sure that the person that you're dealing with who is villainizing you has probably never given you an explanation for anything in the past. Are we seeing a pattern? And this is what happens a lot with breakups. People are expecting certain things of their ex, but yet they never got it when they were in the relationship. So if you never got it when you were on good terms, when they were your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your partner, if you never got it then there is absolutely no chance you're going to get it now as their ex. And this is why I say so often, please stop relying on anything from your ex. And that is another statement that is hard for a lot of people to just accept. But they're the kid's dad or they're the kid's mum. They should be doing this. Yes, we all know what they should and shouldn't be doing as parents. But unfortunately, not everyone comes to the party in the way that they should. And that's a shit thing. And it's a hard thing to accept because you just think, well, I want you to show up for the kids. It's not for me. I don't give a shit what you say about me. I don't give a shit what you do. I want you to show up for the kids. But here is some more food for thought. If they never showed up in your relationship, do you honestly think that they're going to show up for you now that you've broken up? Do you honestly think that you're now going to get a better version of them now that you've broken up and they're your ex? It sounds nice, doesn't it? Wouldn't it be good if that happened? But it doesn't. It doesn't. And that is part of the reason why it takes some people so long to get through this, to move on, to let go, to move forward, because they're caught up in the idea of, but eventually they'll change. Eventually they'll step up. Eventually they'll do better. Eventually I might get an apology. Maybe you will. I'm leaning more towards there's a good chance you won't. On the odd occasion, you might get someone that will. But you can't be dependent on that. You cannot be dependent on waiting for that explanation or for that apology or for that understanding or for anything from your ex in order for you to move on, or in order for you to understand what's happening, or in order for you to feel better, to understand that, okay, I didn't do wrong. It wasn't my fault. I'm okay. You're not going to get those feelings of validation from your ex, especially if they never gave it to you in the relationship. Unfortunately, there is a very good chance you are in a very emotionally abusive relationship and you didn't even realize it. And they are not going to give you what you need now that you have broken up and they are your ex. It's not going to happen. So the villainizing thing, it is hard. It is shit. But what you need to remember is this is their way of refusing to take accountability. This is their way of trying to feel better in themselves. And that's quite often what it is. They don't want to admit fault. They don't want to admit that they fucked up. They don't want to admit that they could have done better in the relationship. So it's all your fault. You did it. You failed. You should have done this. You should have done that. You. And you start to believe it. Well, fuck, maybe I should have. Focusing on what happened a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, that is not going to change anything. You are here, you are now, you are today. If they sit there and blame things on you that happened many, many years ago, that is a dead-end conversation. That is not what you need. You need this person to show up for your kids, not to rehash old conversations of what maybe went wrong 10 years ago. Because as I said at the start, we all make fuck-ups in life. Every single one of us does. But the idea is you learn from that. The idea is you grow from that. So the idea that someone's going to make you feel guilty for doing something wrong in a relationship is a bullshit excuse. Because everyone is going to make mistakes in relationships. Everyone. Everyone will. But it's how you handle it moving forward. Can you acknowledge that? Can you say, shit, I fucked up. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. Or whatever happened. Acknowledging it. Apologizing. And knowing not to do it again. Changing your behavior so you don't repeat that pattern. That is taking accountability, and that is moving on. That is how you learn in relationships. But holding on to something and convincing yourself that you fucked up for something that happened many, many years ago and using that as a reason to justify your ex's villainizing, that mentality is only going to hold you back. So when you are getting villainized and blamed because they don't want to take accountability, the shittiest thing about that is you cannot stop that. You cannot stop that. You can't just give them a call or send them a message saying, hey, can you stop saying I did this? Or can you... They're going to think, good, I've triggered them. This is what I want. They'll probably just laugh at you and they'll keep going. They're not just going to stop because their ex is telling them to stop doing something. And good chance you're not just going to ring them or message them and say, hey, can you please stop doing that? Because if your ex is villainizing you, you're going to be seeing red. You're going to be pissed off. So you're not just going to send them a polite message or give them a polite phone call saying, hey, can you please stop that? It's probably going to be a very heated discussion where they're going to be like, haha, sucked in. And they're not going to cooperate with you I can guarantee you that, because there's also, in addition to everything else, they're probably not cooperating with you with anything else. So please don't convince yourself that they're going to now cooperate with you when it comes to them stopping to talk about you. I worded that wrong, but I think you get what I'm saying. About them not talking about you, I should say. And this comes down to that whole mentality of taking your focus off them. And I cannot say this enough. Your co-parenting relationship will be so much easier when you learn to emotionally detach from them. You let go of any expectations of them. You let go and you don't take anything personally about what they say. Because really, who cares what they say? You can say what you want as well. And this is something I've been bringing up a lot in some of my sessions lately, because like I said, this is not an isolated incident. Pretty much everyone I speak to has been through this. And the best thing you can do in this situation is you need to take your control back. You need to take power and control of your life. Because at the moment, when they're villainizing you and they're blaming you, you're stuck in this little shell thinking, well, maybe they're right. And they're controlling you emotionally. You don't realize it, but you're now feeling shit in yourself. Your confidence is at a low. You don't believe in yourself. You're not good enough. You think you're never going to find someone. You're thinking no one's ever going to want you. You're failed. But what would happen if you just stopped believing that and you took control of your life and go, that's not true? Because realistically, you can say whatever you want about them. You can do it about them too. But the idea is not to play tit for tat. The idea is not to get revenge, because revenge, even though it sounds great in the moment, it never achieves anything productive. And it may give you an instant hit in that moment to make you feel a little bit better in that moment, but there's a good chance if you're dealing with a high conflict ex, they're going to come back even harder. And when you're co-parenting and you've got kids involved, sometimes it's better to take the high road. And you're not doing it for them, you're doing it for you, and you're doing it for your kids. So when you are being villainized, and I'm guessing that everyone here that is listening is or has been, or probably still is, the best thing you can do right now is 1, build up your confidence. Start believing in yourself. Emotionally detach yourself from your ex. Stop taking their words personally. Start reminding yourself of how fucking amazing you are. Stop holding blame over yourself for things that may have happened years ago that you cannot change now. Because the thing is, if you are here today listening to this, if you follow me on my socials, if you're reading my blogs and my e-newsletter and you work with me or you're part of my membership, you are doing what you can to better yourself. You are not just going, yeah, I fucked up, I didn't give a shit, and then just leaving it be. You are doing something about it. And that is what it's all about. You're not just making a fuck up and just going, oh well, and then back into the dating world hoping for the best. You're here listening and following and doing everything else because you want to better yourself. So this is all part of the process. The hardest thing about it, when you are at your lowest, and usually you are when you come out of that breakup, you are at your lowest mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, everything. You are at your lowest and they're just kicking you while you're down. And you don't have the energy or the mental capacity to stop and think to yourself, oh no, that's not true. I'm just going to ignore that. You're not going to do that when you're in that emotional headspace because you are at your lowest. You're going to believe it and they just keep kicking you down and you're getting lower and lower and lower. This is why it's so important to have somebody in your corner to pull you out of that big, dark, deep hole and remind you, you are fucking amazing and you don't need to keep listening to the words of your ex that they're drumming into your head because they're feeling shit about themselves and they want to blame you because they're not showing up as a parent the way they should be. And they don't want people to see that. They don't want people to know that they're fucked up. So they're going to blame you. No matter how good you feel in yourself, they are not just going to stop doing this. The thing is, the more you react to it, the more they will keep going. It's like that whole barking dog thing. When you see a barking dog and you keep going, you keep reacting at it, that dog's going to keep barking. If you don't give that dog attention, if you stop and you walk away, not all dogs, but I'm pretty sure most dogs will just leave it. And that's the thing. Dogs they'll keep going. They'll keep yapping. But you walk away, you don't give it attention, you leave it be, they'll stop. They want something to bark at. Same with your ex. Same sort of thing. If you don't give them attention, they've got nothing to come back at you with. And this is the biggest thing when I talk about boundaries. When you have your boundaries and you're very short and direct and to the point, they don't have anything to come back at you with. But when you give these long-winded explanations and expecting an apology and expecting an understanding, expecting them to feel bad for you and wanting to know how it makes you feel, you're not going to get it. They're just going to come back with more and more stuff and wanting and twisting it to work in their way. And this is when it turns into massive back and forth, tit for tat, and fight over this and that and start name throwing and everything else. Stop engaging in the barking dog. Seriously. It's the best thing you can do. However, I am fully aware that when you are still at a mental and emotional low space, you are not feeling good in yourself. It is not that easy to do. It is easier said than done. I am fully aware of this because I've been there. I know that it's not easy to just get out of that hole on your own. You do need someone to pull you out of it. You do need someone to keep you on track. You do need someone to remind you that you can get through this and you can get to the other side. That person that is making you feel like shit, they feel like shit and they don't want you to do better without them. So they're going to make sure that you suffer. The best revenge you can get for someone like that is to show them how fucking amazing you are, how good your life can be without them. Now, mind you, you're not doing that for them. You're doing it for you. But that is the best thing you can do. And that is quite often why they do that and why they blame you and villainize you for everything. Because they want to know that you are not going to do better without them. They want to know that your life will be miserable without them in it. And quite often you'll get people, and I've had this said to me on multiple occasions, you'll be nothing without me. I remember when I got divorced. So for those of you that don't know my full story, so I have been divorced and we never had kids, but then I was later in a de facto relationship with my daughter's father. So it was pretty two lengthy relationships. And I'll never forget that day I signed those divorce papers. And he was there and he said to me, you'll be nothing without me. And in that moment, I believed it. I'm like, I'm fucked. My life is over. And then similar situation when I broke up with my daughter's father, I had similar words said to me. And you do, you believe it. You're thinking, well, who's going to want me? And this is why it's so important to build up your confidence, build up that belief in yourself. This is the biggest thing you can do because anything to do with this, it's all about your mind frame. And it's easy to get caught up in, but they're doing this, but they said this, they keep blaming me. That's them. You can't control them. You can't change anything what they do. Pretty much everyone understands that and knows that. But in the moment, they're still trying to get something from them and they don't even realize. It's easy to get caught up in, I need this from them. I need them to show up. I need them to step up. I need them to apologize. I need them to explain. They're not going to give you what you need. So yes, being blamed, being villainized is one of the hardest things you will go through because when you're going through it, you are at your lowest of low point. So really, it's each time that happens, it's like that knife in your back is getting pushed in deeper and deeper and deeper. But the only way to take that out is by not allowing it to affect you. And as I said, I understand it is not so easy. And this is why sometimes you need someone in your corner to help you with that. Because please remember, they are not going to stop. They are not going to change. And they are not just going to stop doing it because all of a sudden they feel bad for you. If this is who they are, and you're seeing this behavior, this pattern, they're not just going to one day wake up and go, oh, I feel sorry for them, I'll just stop. No, the way they stop and the way this changes is by the way you change how you handle it, the way you change how you react, the way you change how you show up, the way you change how you engage. But the thing is, if you're not believing in yourself, that won't happen. If you don't have the confidence in yourself to do that, that won't happen. And this is where those boundaries come into play. And to have those boundaries and to really set boundaries, you need to believe in yourself. And I see this a lot in my line of work where I'm dealing with clients in my sessions and they're like, it is really uncomfortable to set boundaries. And it is for the first time, especially if you've been in a relationship where you've just done everything to keep the peace. But now this is about you. And nothing in your co-parenting relationship is going to change by expecting your ex to change. And that includes villainizing and anything else that they may be doing. Expecting them to stop, explain, apologize, whatever else, it is not going to happen. And as I said earlier, especially if they are someone that's never ever taken accountability whilst you were together in the relationship, they are not going to start now. If anything, they will be doing the complete opposite and pushing more the other way, making you be the villain in their story so they look like the amazing parent that they are in their eyes only, and maybe in their friends and their family. And yes, that does sting. They can say what they want, but when you see and hear other people believing it, it stings. It really stings. But if it's their family, if it's their friends, let them think what they want. They're not paying your bills. If they want to jump onto your ex's bandwagon, let them go for that ride. Your friends, your family, your people, the ones in your corner will believe you. But what you need to remember here, even though you will have people that will believe your ex, and that is a shitty thing. You'll be surprised at the amount of friends I lost when I went through my breakup with my daughter's father because they believed him and his bullshit lies. That was truly the worst feeling ever. Friends that were mine, that I had for years, that he met through me whilst we were together in that relationship, all of a sudden believed him. People believe them. People believe them. And I tell you, that stung more than anything. Losing my friends that I made before even knowing him, and they jumped on the bandwagon and believed him. So I do understand what it's like. But leave them be. If they're going to jump on that train, let them. Leave them. Your people will believe you. Your people will understand you. Most important people you need in your corner are your kids. That's it. Your kids. Who cares what anyone else thinks? Your kids are your number one priority. That's who you want to show up for. That's who you want to know is believing you, is seeing that best version of you. And this is the thing that so many people forget. When you're caught up in that headspace of trying to prove your ex wrong, then all that is doing is just mentally and emotionally destroying you. You cannot show up as a hands-on, happy parent when you're caught up in that headspace of they're saying this about me, I've got to prove them wrong, I've got to tell this person, I've got to let them know. When you're constantly on the back foot worrying about all this negative talk and villainizing and blaming, you are not showing up as a happy person at home with your kids. I can guarantee it. And it does affect you in every way, mentally and emotionally. And that's not what you want. When what they're saying and doing is affecting your relationship with your kids and it's affecting how you show up with your kids, that's your sign to stop. That's your sign to say to yourself, okay, I've got to change something here. I can't do this. I can't have their lies affecting how I show up as a mum or as a dad for my kids. I can't have that. Because like I said, your kids are the ones who need to see who you are. They're the ones that are important here. Let the other people believe the lies. And I can guarantee you now, someone that's been on this journey for 12 years and going through this process for 12 years, I can tell you now, people eventually see the truth. And you don't have to go up and say anything. You don't have to tell them. They know. They see how the kids are with you. They see how you are with them. They see how they later behave and patterns. And that's just it. Patterns start to come out. People see the truth. But at the end of the day, even if they don't, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But whilst your confidence is still very low, whilst your self-worth is still very low, whilst you don't believe in yourself, whilst you're still emotionally and mentally all over the place from the breakup, it does matter. You do care. And I understand that. But you've got to try and stop caring. That is the best thing you can do. So any of my friends out there who are in the process of being villainised, being blamed, they want to be involved in your kids' lives, then they will show up and make an effort. But if they're not showing up and making that effort because they're not confident enough in themselves, because that's just it. They act all confident, but they're not. They're very insecure people, the ones that do this, the ones that play the villainising game and the blame game. That's why they're blaming, because they're very insecure and they don't want to look like the bad person. And it is not your job to fix their problems. It is their job. They are a grown-ass adult. So, if you need help through any of this, because as I said, and I'll say this over and over again, your ex is not going to change. Your ex is not going to give you what you need or what your kids need. They're not just going to magically cooperate with you if they've been blaming you and villainising you and making your life difficult. They're not just going to turn up one day and say, okay, let's make this work. Doesn't happen that way. And the more you sit back and wait, the more you are holding yourself back. You can have a freaking amazing life as a single parent, but it's up to you to make that happen. And the more you are focusing on your ex and what they're saying about you, who they're saying it to, whether it's true, whether it's not true, how it's making you feel, the more you're focusing on that, the more you're holding yourself back. Stop giving this person control over how you feel. Stop giving this person energy that they don't deserve of yours. Put your energy into you and your life and building your life up. So that time when you do meet someone, you are in a good headspace. You are ready to start fresh with someone new. You are not caught up in the drama with your ex. And it's not about having this perfect kumbaya relationship with your ex. Maybe you will eventually, but you don't have to focus on getting to that goal. It's just about being amicable. And you can't get to that place of being amicable with this person when you're still so angry and hurt and caught up in all the emotions of it. And that's where it starts, with looking at what you can do in yourself, not about saying, well, they're doing this, they're saying this about me, so they've got to change. You're here because you want to change the way you show up, not because you're relying on your ex to change. That's what you need to remember. So please jump into my show notes. If you want to work together, I have that free chat available where we can get you a start to see what it looks like going forward. And I promise you now, it'll make a difference. I can 100% guarantee it'll make a difference. But you need to stick with it. And for those of you who are not sure about coaching, you're not sure if you're ready yet, you're not sure if you're ready to have that mirror put up to you and have a look at what's happening and understand everything, then there is that membership program where I check in with you. Me personally, I will message you. I will send you an email or I will send you a voice message on Instagram. And I will check in, see where you're at, see what you're going through. Let's talk about what's happening, because that's just it. There's always things happening in your life. Then you're like, fuck, what do I do? And then you jump onto Facebook or somewhere in some group chat and you ask people. But quite often you're getting feedback from people that are even more wounded than you are. And that is not the advice you need, I promise you now. And you don't necessarily need advice. You need support from someone that's going to keep you on track. You need support from someone that's going to give you the right options. And quite often, a lot of people that I'm working with in this membership, they say that. They're like, I'm so glad I had you here for this. Because it's not about me saying, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. I am here to say, okay, these are your options. You need to come to a decision, but I want you to think about how this is going to impact you. How is this going to impact you? And how is it going to impact you if you did this? It's about, like I said at the start, taking those blinkers off so you can look at all options and you look at what works best for you. And then you might be saying, well, what's the point? If I'm making the decision, what's the point? Because you don't see that when you're in it. You've got those blind spots. You're not aware of all these different options. It's not until someone says something to you where they're fully experienced in this area and they can point out all the pros and cons. Because when you're in it, when you're so emotionally invested in what's happening, you're not able to see things from your ex's perspective, or you're not able to see things from maybe a third person's perspective, which is what I'm here for. Now, I'm not here to sugarcoat things for your ex. I'm not here to sugarcoat things for anyone. I'm going to keep it real, but I'll keep it kind and polite as well. But the idea is to help you make those decisions, to keep you going in the right track. So once eventually you will get to a place, it's like, okay, so now when I'm making decisions, I need to look at this, and this. And that's what it is. It's about giving you the tools that eventually you can do this on your own. You don't need to rely on speaking to wounded people on Facebook who are going to sit there and bitch about their ex. That is not going to help you. That is not the support you need. That is venting. You want someone that's going to uplift you and support you, not spread hate. We don't want hate. Everyone hates everyone these days on social media. I'm over that. So let's all just love each other and sing Kumbaya and skip into the sunset. If only, right? Anyway, enough of talking for me today. But I hope you all got something valuable from this episode, because it really is. It is a challenging period to go through when you are being villainised. But it comes down to you, your headspace, how you take it on, how you work through it. And that is the important thing, because the longer you sit around and just sit there and wait, is this going to stop? When are they going to stop? When are they going to stop? When are they going to stop? They're not. It's like you're sitting around waiting for that light at the end of the tunnel. That light's never going to come if you're sitting around waiting for them. It's only going to stop, and it's only going to change when you change it on your end. When you change how you take it on board, how you show up, how you handle it, how you react, how you feel in yourself, how you communicate. All of these things are all part of it. So jump into my show notes. All the details are there. The free chat, there's 6 weeks, 12 weeks, coaching sessions, they're all there. Weekly membership, it's there. All my ebooks, it's there. Everything is there in the show notes. If you need anything, it's all there. If you want to have a chat, jump over to Instagram, Facebook, send me a message. I promise I always respond to people. Or just come over and say hi. Tell me what you loved about the show. I'm down for that. Or you can give me a little review. I'm even down for that even more, because that gets the podcast even into more ease. Let's get that out to all our single parent friends. So that's it. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you, everyone. I really hope you did get something valuable from this. And until next week, I'll be in your ears then. Thank you for joining us on the Life After Plus One podcast. If you loved what you heard today and looking for some further support, then jump onto our website, lifeafterplusone.com. Plus, don't forget to check out our Instagram page for further resources and inspo. You can find all the links in the show notes. And remember, you're not alone on this path. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. And in the meantime, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep exploring your amazing life after plus one.